Hey guys, so I'm sure you could tell by the title of the channel here, everything sucks. And I'm going to try and go over how everything sucks and why it sucks big time. Today I'm going to take a look at the gaming industry as a whole and how much it sucks ass compared to what it used to be. Now, granted, gaming has become more popular, we have some better games and everything like that, but is that really a better thing? I'm not so sure at this point. You got to figure back in the day when you had Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, all those games, when gaming wasn't really popular. It was still a niche nerd thing to do. Now, granted, not all companies did this, but a lot of companies had to succeed with their games very vehemently, I guess, is the best word. I'm not sure what the best word is for that. But basically, what they needed to do was make sure their game was good so you could buy it. Now, there were other companies that used deception or movie tie-ins, like everybody's heard about the dreaded LJN with their stupid movie tie-ins that counted on the movie tie-in and not the gameplay to sell it. But nowadays with games, they can be released as broken piles of crap. They can be released not actually being the full game. They can be released not actually showing all the gameplay. This is the problem, is that gaming now feels like there's no passion, no love. I'm sure there is still passion and love from some of the developers, but I believe that publishers are the main cause of this. They have inflated the cost of gaming to astronomical levels, which makes it almost impossible to sustain. And they've also gotten to the point to where they want to nickel and dime everybody as much as possible, which is why the first thing I'm going to take a look at is microtransactions in gaming. Okay, so shitty microtransactions, something that I think just about everybody hates. There are a few select people that might enjoy microtransactions. I don't know who they are, and I would definitely like to punch them in the face. Stop buying this crap. It's literally digital crap. You can't do anything with it. It's not going to carry over to the future. In fact, when you move to next gen, you'll probably all forget about all of your microtransaction crap, and you'll move on to the next thing. I don't have the stat pulled up, but I believe seems like a lot of things love to do the 80-20 rule, where basically 80% of gamers ignore microtransactions, but that 20% that buy them spend fortunes on it, which is absolutely disgusting in my opinion. That is horrible. If you want to waste your goddamn money on buying some stupid-ass currency or some stupid-ass costume in a game, there are tons of charities you could give to. Stop burning your goddamn money on these stupid microtransactions. You can tell that these piss me off. I really cannot stand them. They're everywhere. It used to be when you bought a game, you got everything that was in the game. There was no DLC. Of course, there were no patches, of course. But if there were costumes for the characters or extra shit, it was in the game. I didn't have to buy it. I didn't have to pay to unlock it. I didn't have to do any of this crap. Nowadays, they want us to pay and nickel dime us for every goddamn thing that we do, and it's infuriating. So let's take a look at some examples here. So I'm more of an Xbox gamer, so let's take a look at Halo first. I was so pissed off when I found out that Halo had microtransactions. Granted, they started it a little bit back further, I think with Halo 4 was the first one. I'm trying to remember if Halo 3 might have had them. But anyway, in Halo 5, it's gotten bad. These microtransactions are insane when it comes to just cosmetics. Granted, they don't affect the gameplay. But I also, when I'm playing a multiplayer game, I do want to look cool. That's kind of the whole point. You basically get the costumes and you're like showing it off to either people you're killing or your teammates. You're like, hey, check this out. Isn't that cool? And they're like, yeah, that's pretty cool. How'd you unlock that? I fucking paid for it. It's like, yeah, awesome. No, there's really, and that's the problem with the costumes, is back in the day when you unlock something big and it took a lot of work, you could be like, dude, check that out. He had to get to level 50 and grind out like 10 battles and like all this other shit and get like 15 headshots in one move, and now he's got this awesome costume. So it was like a sign of prestige. Nowadays, how do you get that cool costume? I probably paid for it. And even then, when you pay for it, you're still not guaranteed, which is what I would actually call gambling. A lot of people will disagree. I know that's been in the media forever about, is it gambling, is it not? I believe it is. Because usually when you gamble, you are taking a chance with your money to try and win, to try and get something. How are loot boxes any different? with a loot box, you're not say you're going for a costume that you want in a loot box. So you end up going to the loot box and buy, and you keep buying and buying and buying because you're trying to win a specific item, which is in a way the same as gambling because you're trying to win that damn jackpot. So it's the same thing. But instead, you keep getting crap, kind of like with gambling, where they give you $1 or $2 to keep you going. They're like, oh, well, I'm winning. It's enough for the past couple games I did. Let me keep going. Let me keep going. Let me keep going. Let me keep going. It's the same thing. So you'll basically get a loot box. You may not get the exact costume you got, but maybe you got something a little bit extra that wasn't as awesome. You're just kind of like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Not what I wanted, but okay. And you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going. You keep spending more money and more money and more money and more money. Like I said, we can argue about this probably, and people are arguing about it. I believe that's gambling because, like I said, you are spending money for something that is not guaranteed. You're not guaranteed to get it. There is a chance you could get it. How is that not gambling? Now, I mean, if we want to get further into gambling, I actually believe that gambling shouldn't be in games to begin with for under mature rated games, because you got to figure. Example of like an RPG. I think the last one I had tried that I can remember had gambling was Tales of Vesperia. Had a bunch of had a casino where you could go gamble, and a lot of the prizes that you could get were pretty good. They were pretty good armor and stuff like this. So I'm sitting here stuck gambling, playing normal gambling games, roulette, blackjack, shit like that, trying to get this money. And I hate gambling to begin with. So I'm sitting here getting frustrated. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm like, why do I have to do this for these items? Why are you making me gamble? So I have a question. Why is it in real life gambling you have to be 21, but for a video game, since it's not real money, I guess it's different? I personally don't see the difference. You're still teaching kids how to gamble, which is never really a good thing because we've already seen what happens with gambling. So anyway, I am getting a little bit sidetracked here. But basically, I didn't want to look at this. I brought up the wrong article here. I do apologize. But it was just to show that the microtransactions brought in more money in 6 months than previous games' DLC. And this is why we see that these are not going anywhere. Because like I said, that 20% that keeps buying it are jackasses that keep ruining it for everybody else. So now instead of getting a full game, we get a partial multiplayer game where we have to pay to unlock everything else. So then let's move on to the other side of the aisle when we look at Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4, I love the Uncharted series. I thought that was an amazingly made game. It was one of the games that basically brought about the single player cinematic experience that we all know about nowadays. Now, here's the main problem. Even that game that, everybody totes is like, look at this, great exclusive, great single player and everything. Still, that has microtransactions in it as well. Even that game. And that made $56 million. Now, I would wish that this article would basically separate the two of them. Unfortunately, it says $56 million in downloads and microtransactions. Like, that's iffy. It's like, I would like if you would actually separate it there. But it doesn't seem like. Unfortunately, it's downloads and microtransactions. They're not really saying. I'm guessing it could be from the actual DLC. I know there wasn't a shit ton of DLC for Uncharted, but it was still pretty good. Let's see here. Sold 2.7 million copies. They did not separate the data, so screw you. You're a horrible article. I apologize about that. But here's another one. Now, granted, the sports games have always had microtransactions, but that's because they're multiplayer. It really has gotten to the point where if it's multiplayer, you better be ready to have microtransactions to deal with, which is never a good thing. Like, I'm actually trying to remember the last time I saw a multiplayer game that didn't have microtransactions. I mean, this shit is getting ridiculous to the point to where, like I said, they're making billions off of this, and yet they still sell like crazy. People still buy them. And I think the main problem, too, with EA as a company with this is not only just the microtransactions, but these games have been getting more and more bare bones crap that you have to pay to buy the deluxe edition or the super ultra edition or pre-order it to get this. It's getting disgusting. I understand that as a business you want to make money. That's fine. But you should at least have some integrity. It's one of those things that people say, well, they're just trying to make as much money as possible. It's like, oh, okay. Okay. So if I go out and get a normal job You know, I can make a decent amount of money depending on what I do. I'm not going to get into the specifics of it. But if I go out and deal drugs to kids, I'll make a shit ton more money. A shit ton more money. But is it morally ethic? Is it ethically moral? I'm sorry, said that backwards. And no, it's not. And to me, it's the same thing here. It's like, oh, well, they're just doing the micros. They're making money and everything like that. Yeah, it's still morally wrong. I don't care if it's a business. I understand it's a business decision. That doesn't mean it's not wrong. Every time I see these game companies doing such greedy things, it just pisses me off no matter who's doing it. It's always got to be not for the gamers. You know, back in the day, like I said, back with old games, you used to have to actually be for the gamers if you wanted your game to sell. Like I said, there were a lot of shitty games. There's always going to be shitty games because people just make games to basically do it as a money grab because there's no passion. But we've already seen with games that have no passion how they fail. And I think that's the main problem is publishers are not gamers. They're not gamers in the least bit. They literally did this as a business decision, which is probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I hate these bureaucrats that get into, whether it's gaming, movies, skateboarding, whatever you want to call it. You get these bureaucrats that see the almighty dollar and they basically just jump in there not having any kind of passion for it at all, which is ridiculous. I'm not some kind of like hippie socialist, blah, blah, blah. I like capitalism. I do think it should be controlled. I don't think it should be just laissez-faire where it's just like, let people do whatever the hell they want. But it's also one of these things that capitalism also creates these assholes. Like I said, the people in charge of EA, the people that do this crap, to where Madden, I'm not going to go too much into it with Madden because I don't play sports games. Angry Joe did a great video on it if you guys want to check that out. It's a great rant about how much Madden just has sucked the past 5 years. I didn't even realize how bad it was gotten. But now you're paying microtransactions for franchise mode stuff. You're paying for jerseys. You're paying for all of this stupid stuff that just doesn't even matter. That should actually be in the game to begin with. And that's usually their excuses. They'll look and they'll say, well, you don't need this to complete the game. It's like, no, but I do want to have fun with my game. And when I feel like I'm locked out of 90% of the shit because you decided to do this, it's horrible. Coming back to here, let's see, we got $5 to $50 for microtransactions on Uncharted. Now, I know that I didn't bring one up for Halo, and I'll say that just to not be a fanboy or whatever, but Halo's is pretty bad too. I think theirs goes up to $30 or $40 for, I don't know, I think it's enough to buy, you pay like $40, so you could buy like maybe 4 gold packs, which gets you like 10 items. It's ridiculous. But see, like here, for the cheapest op is 500 Uncharted points, which goes for $5. I'm not sure who started this, but it's horrible to where it's $100 equals $1. Always. I didn't bring it up, but another bad one, I've been playing that Avengers game. That one is horrible. Some of those costumes are 1,400 points. And basically each, same as Uncharted, 100 points is $1. So that means they want $14 for a damn costume. Like, come on, guys. That's horrible. Like, that's not even just, let's try and make a little bit of extra money. That is pure greed. Absolute pure greed. And, like, let's see another one here. Let me bring up, let's see Grand Theft Auto 5, because I know that one is absolutely horrible for its microtransactions. That game has gotten so bad. That one's a great example of how bad microtransactions can get out of control. Because what you've got with that one, I actually have played that since the beginning. I've played Grand Theft Auto 5 and online since it came out for the 360 and PS3. And when it first came out, I was having fun. Me and this one guy, we got into a mission where you could actually get a decent amount of money. I can't remember how much it was, but it was a couple $100,000 for like a 5-minute mission. You would basically just shoot a bunch of guys, you get the money, you were good to go. We still had to grind on it. Don't get me wrong. We still had to grind on it to get to like buy cars and stuff. But I think after like an hour, we had already made like $1 million. It's like 1.4, something like that. I think at the end we grinded. I ended up with like 3.3 million. So anyway, I sat on it and didn't play the game for a while. So then I come back to it a little bit later on and see how bad it's gotten. Now that same mission that I had done before, getting a couple 100,000 each time, you're lucky if you get $5,000, which was absolutely pitiful considering cars cost $1.3 million, which is, of course, not even realistic to begin with. But the fact of the matter is, it's gotten so bad. Like, I actually was excited about the yacht sale that they were doing. I believe, let me see here. I had seen it. It was a new online event for yachts. They wanted to get people into yachts. I myself have been saving up money from, I haven't played the game in like 6 months, but I was saving up for like the weed things and basically doing a bunch of business routes to get money. So I had a couple million. I go up to do the damn thing. It is still, even on sale, $4.5 million for a yacht. And that's for the base yacht with no extra shit on it. No helipad, no jet skis, none of that crap. $4.5 million. Do you know how long it would take me to grind up to that, doing the dailies, the weeklies, and a bunch of other shit? I am guessing a month straight. And that's playing GTA Online every damn day. I wake up, I get in, I grind, I do some missions, I do the 2 times RP, the 2 times money, and it's still, I don't know. I know I just keep beating a dead horse, but it infuriates me so bad that you have your game locked behind. They're sort of like, it's not locked. You could grind and get this shit. Yeah, if I don't want to play any other games, have a life, or do anything else except play GTA Online or any of these other games all day, every day, just so I can get that goddamn money to buy a new costume or a new car. It's disgusting. And we need to start taking a stand against this crap. And the thing is it's even getting worse. You've got here with EA with apologizing because they had put full screen ads in a $60 game. You know, like, I'm okay with ads in a free game. They got to make their money somewhere. The game is absolutely free. It's like nobody works for free. I'm fine with that. I have always been fine with micros and free games because they have to make their money somewhere. You know, like Phantasy Star or those MMOs or something. But this is some bullshit right here. You're going to sit here and put a goddamn advertisement right in the replay on a game that somebody paid $60 for. And you already have ads. Their shorts are ads. The Octagon is an ad. There's ads everywhere, yet you still had to put more in, EA. It's so infuriating. And the problem is that they took it out because people made a backlash, but they will bring it back. Mark my words, they will bring it back. They'll do it slowly. I forgot what it was. There was an article I remember seeing. It's all what I was going to get at is that you need to do things slowly as opposed to doing it all at once, and that gets people. Like for what it was Facebook. They changed the background color. So what they did was, I remember this, they had changed the background color on Facebook like instantly to a much, I think it was a darker color or a lighter color, I can't remember exactly. But anyway, they changed it and people flipped the hell out. How dare you change this? How dare you do this? This is horrible. How could you do this? This is unheard of. Blah, 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 blah. And just going all nuts all over the place. Well, it turns to find out that they went back after the next year and slowly changed the color. Like, you know, it would just go from white to a little bit more of an off-white to a darker off-white. And they did this slowly over I think it was about a year they did it. Nobody said a goddamn thing. It's the same with everything, even with laws. And that's the problem with these companies with the microtransactions is, you know, a lot of my friends, when I'll see something, I'll get pissed off and I'll be like, I want to boycott this game. Because to me, that's the only thing we can do as customers. We put our money where our mouth is and basically boycott these games to show that we don't like this shit. But usually my friends are like, it's easy. Who cares? You don't have to buy it. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to buy it. I'm like, it starts like that. I was like, it's going to get worse. Like, another example, going back to Avengers. I've been having fun with Avengers. The multiplayer. I actually thought the single player was pretty crap, but that's not neither here nor there. But anyway, they are doing what is called a battle pass for the characters that come out. Now, what it is if you haven't played Marvel's Avengers, you probably should. It's a pretty good game. I'm not saying you should buy it, but at least try it or something. Anyway, so what they were going to do is you actually have these character cards that you get, which are basically I believe they were taken from MMOs. You know, a lot of these places will say like Battlefield did it or whatnot, but their MMOs did it first, where as you're gaining points, you're going up on this graph, and as you get to certain spots, you will unlock new stuff, new costumes. Even in Marvel Avengers, some premium currency. You unlock a bunch of stuff. So all the 6 characters, you see, it's unlocked. You just basically you do your daily and weekly challenges. You'll get points, and you grind out there to get up there. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So I didn't really know what these battle passes were at first that they were announcing, because every new character for Marvel is going to be free. So they're going to be doing battle passes from now on. So I was like, oh, okay, that's probably like to buy costumes and stuff from like the marketplace. No, I was wrong. It's scummier than that. So what it is from now on, they'll even say, here, the Premium Hero Challenge cards have been already unlocked for the 6 starting heroes. It says they prevent content gating and guarantee that you and your friends can experience this. However, to unlock all rewards for any new heroes, it will have to cost you. The premium rewards for each one is 1,000 in-game credits. As I've stated, every 100 is $1. So that's $10 just to unlock the Battle Pass, which lets you grind to unlock costumes. So not only is buying the thing not bypassing the grinding on these microtransactions anymore, but it's even worse to where it's just unlocking the ability for you to grind. It's like, oh, here, you want to be able to grind to get some stuff for your character? Give us $10, we'll do it. It's disgusting. Now, granted, I got to say this, you can unlock premium currency, like I said, with the main 6 characters. If you go through their challenge cards, I think it's about $1,300 per character. So if you save that, you can use that for the premium characters that are coming out. But that still doesn't change the fact that this is a bullshit thing. Like I said, you're literally paying to be able to grind. Normally, most microtransactions, you pay so you don't have to grind. Here, we're paying to grind. So you can see why the shit is getting so bad, it's unreal. And it needs to stop. And the only thing I can think of, guys, is that we just stop buying these games. I know we look at them, we're like, oh, it's flashy. Look at the moves. It looks so cool. I love it. I can't wait. I'm going to buy it. You got to have a backbone and say, you know what? What is this doing to the industry when I buy this? And also, for the people that say, because my friend is one of them, he says, who cares? You know, boycotting doesn't do anything. There's tons of other people that buy it. It's like, yes, but if everybody boycotts it, it does do something. And that's along the lines, in my opinion, of saying that voting doesn't matter, when, of course, it does. Every little bit adds up. You know, if 1 or 2 people just sit here and say, well, I'm not buying that game, they got micros, I'm taking a stand against that, that doesn't really do shit. It might help you feel better. But that's why we have to get the word out about these games to not buy these. It's so bad and it's so infuriating. I'm just kidding. Okay, all right, we'll moving on to the next section. But there was a big ass rant on microtransactions there. I apologize. Okay, so this next section is more about the diversity in gaming and the SJW push that they've been doing recently. This one won't be as big a section because this really doesn't bother me too much. I mean, it annoys me, but it's just kind of like, if you ignore these people, they usually shut the hell up. Well, sometimes. Then other times they yell a lot louder. So I guess it depends. But anyway, it's always got to be a push for what I like to say is actually segregation. Because it's basically got to be to where you have to be a girl gamer, you have to be a black gamer, you have to be this gamer, you have to be a white male gamer, you have to be this. You can't just be a gamer. You have to be segregated, basically. And that's what all of these people love to do. They love to segregate by your race, your religion, your beliefs, whatever it is. We have to segregate. It's not that we're all just gamers or anything like that. Like, for example, here, look at Kamala Khan from the new Avengers game. Is the year's most important hero? Yeah, sure they are. This is the hero that we need. Everything you need to know. Puts Kamala Khan at center of the story. Like, just such bullshit. Like, and virtue signaling that's unreal. See, she's like the most important gamer and all this shit. She's not just a token character. Blah, blah, blah. All this crap that just gets thrown in that doesn't matter. Here's the thing. I've heard people say that they care about being represented in games. I'm like, first of all, that's actually that's pretty sad in my opinion. If you need to actually be represented in something to enjoy it, that's pretty fucking sad. Like, how bad is your life that you need to be represented in something to feel better about yourself? Like, you might want to get that checked out. Like, I have depression, but goddamn, you want to get that checked out. And here's the other thing. First of all, you know, everybody will say straight white males always feel included. No, I don't. Do you think I feel included because Tony Stark is in the game? Because what? Because he's a straight white guy? No. I'm not a billionaire genius inventor. So no, I'm not represented by him. Do I feel represented by Bruce Banner? No. I'm not a biochemist genius that turns into a monster. I'm not represented. I'm not that much of a racist to where I see a white guy and I'm like, that's me. That's so me right there. I'm a billionaire philanthropist playboy. That's me. I'm Tony Stark. Sweet. No, you guys are stupid. If you want to be included in a game, you want to know the only time I feel like I'm represented in a game is when it has a character creator, because then I make myself. I make my hairstyle, I make my skin tone, all that shit. Then you can feel represented. But saying you feel represented by a character that has no traits with you aside from your race or your religion is actually itself racist, in my opinion. It shows that all you care about is your actual race, which, like I said, that's racist by definition. So what are you going to do there? But I mean, like, look at like some like article like this. Oops, sorry. Women in gaming, the best PC games by female games designers. Why does it have to be like that? Why does it have to be like basically this the best PC games by female creators who set out to prove though that why can't they just be good games? Why can't they just be good games? You know, the same with this here. How Black Girl Gamers is changing the gaming landscape for the better. It's like, why? By being uninclusive? By literally segregating yourself? It is a community of 6,000 black women. Why would you do that? Just be gamers. Why do you have to segregate yourselves? Like, I would love to see the outrage if it came up to where it's like, there's a new straight white male group that's sending gaming forward and blah, blah, blah. It's horrible. That's how you can usually tell if it's racist with a lot of these people, is that change the roles. If someone made a group, said the straight white male gaming group that's all about straight white males and gaming and shit, you would never hear the end of it. That's racist. Why you got to segregate yourselves? Why you got to keep other people out? Why you got to do this? But when it's a minority, it's so stunning and brave. Stunning and brave, right? Also, let's get over this thing here. You know what? You could say that I'm just not seeing it right, but I'm sorry. There's still not a ton of girl gamers out there. They're really not. You could say they're casuals. You know, they occasionally will dabble into a game. But even girls that I've met that have stated they are gamers, barely game. My one buddy, my best friend's wife, says she's an avid gamer. I remember when I first met her, she says, I'm a huge gamer. I love gaming. I have not seen her pick up a controller in 3 months. I think the last game she played was the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and she didn't even finish it. And this is what I mean, is that go into an online forum, an online game, and put on your headset and start talking. Tell me how many women you're actually going to find. Was it maybe 1 out of 10? 1 out of 15? I'm not saying that we should get rid of them. But the thing is they're making this push like women are this huge demographic in gaming. They're like, why is it always straight white men or just men usually in gaming? It's like, because we're the biggest demographic. It's kind of the way it is. You go for your demographic. You know, like, I'm not going to go, if I'm going to make like a new, this is a weird example off the cuff, but say we're making a new Magic the Gathering game. I'm not going to go and basically try and get sports guys to play it. Be like, yeah, let's get those football sports guys to play Magic the Gathering. They'll love it. It's like, no, that's stupid. They're not the demographic. Again, I'm not saying everybody's going to attack me and be like, you're just sexist. No, I don't think that we should exclude anybody from gaming. But when you literally try to segregate them into boxes, it disturbs me. You're just a gamer. You don't have to be a female gamer. You're just a gamer. You don't have to be a black gamer. You're just a gamer. That's just the way it is. Why do we have to put anybody into boxes? And then you've got this too. Recently, I'd seen this article about a new study that's saying the most toxic gamer. Personally, I hate that word toxic. It's like, I really don't like that. Nothing's actually toxic. Stop saying that. You're not being poisoned by this shit. But anyway, everybody that knows that goes basically online without being in a party, that every platform has their morons. And they're generally little kids. They are generally, that's the funny part. They're usually little kids whose balls haven't dropped and have the high-pitched squeaky voice, or they're like teenagers they're basically giving shit. And the thing is everybody's like, it's so toxic and everything. What do? We have to stop it. I'm like, you have a block button, you have a mute button. That's all I do. Somebody's talking shit and I don't like it, boom, mute. Much better. Nothing to deal with. So I don't get it. But anyway, this study I'm actually questioning because I cannot find any damn details on it. Everywhere I look, it just says that there's a survey going out that says they're the most toxic. I'm like, okay, what did you ask? What did you look at? What did you check on? Because trust me, I play all consoles, and I have met toxic people on every damn console in every game I play online. Every damn game. Do you know how many times that, I'm sure everybody that plays online can attest to this, how many times you've been called the N word or the F word over and over and over again? Or, you know, the typical be like, I'm going to fuck your mother and blah, 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 like all this shit. Like I said, don't get angry. Ignore them. Block. Mute. Move on. That's all you do. That's all you do. And at most, you report them. If they're actually doing something bad, you report them. That's it. But see, I mean, look at this. Like, what do you mean the highest in physical aggression when it comes to gaming? What does that even mean? We're in gaming. Are you talking about guys that, like, throw their controllers? Like, verbal aggression, I guess. Anger and hostility, yeah. But you notice they mostly come from... Animal Crossing's the one that got me. But you notice they mostly come from multiplayer games. Because some people are very competitive, unfortunately. It's just the way it is. We don't have to change the industry for this. We already have tools. That's the thing that I hate is people come in and say that we need to change this. It's like, no. If you like the industry, you come in and you join. You don't change things. I mean, that's what's happened with movies, with comics, with gaming. You get these people, I hate to say it, mostly leftists usually, that come in, sit here and say, oh, I like gaming. Can I come in and join? And most people are welcoming. They're like, yeah, come on in and join. I'm like, this is cool. I love this. But we got to change this. We got to change this. I don't like that. Let's change that too. I don't like that. Let's change that too. It's like, then you didn't like what you were coming into. If you come into something to change everything, you don't like it then. It's actually was the same excuse I gave with the Final Fantasy VII remake, because some people were saying, I remember with that game, that, I liked the original, but I didn't want to see the same story again. It's like, then you didn't like the original. You want something new. You don't care. You just want the characters in a new story. You don't like the original. Because to me, being a very adamant Final Fantasy VII fan, I want the original. You could put in a couple extras, but don't change the damn story because we know what it is. He's like, I'm going to subvert expectations. It's like, that doesn't always make it good. There are tons of movies and shit that subverted expectations, and people are like, that was dumb. Like, why would you do that? It's dumb. But anyway, what I'm getting to again is, I went a little long on this, is that I'm tired of people segregating everybody for the sake of diversity. It's weird that for the sake of diversity, we have to mention the person's race, we have to mention their religion, we have to mention this, we have to mention that, we have to mention their gender. It's like, if it's so inclusive, then you don't have to. Okay, now this section here, let's talk about how bad fanboyism has gotten with these game consoles. And I will admit, it's probably because they are the majority, there's more consoles out there, but to me, Sony fanboys are the absolute worst. They have literally become a cult. Now, granted, any fanboy acts like a cultist. That's pretty much a given no matter what console it's for. And again, like I said, it could be that there's more of them, but Sony fanboys are so bad. They care about, for some reason, they care about the stupid Metacritic score, which is so bullshit. It's so dumb. We already have proof that Metacritic lies and cheats about their scores, yet they care. They're like, I've been on many websites where they'll say, this Nintendo game just got a bump because it's a Nintendo game. Which I will admit, Nintendo games do seem to get that. They get a bump on their score just because it's a Nintendo game. But also the same can be said about Sony games. There's a lot of Sony exclusives that get bumped up to like a 9 or a 10 that really are not that great. But because they're a Sony exclusive, they've got to be. If anything, the one I've seen the worst is if it's a Microsoft exclusive, it actually loses points because of that. Like, Microsoft's the one that continually gets shit on by everybody, but Sony shits on everybody. They hate everybody. Like, some examples, God of War or any of their exclusives that don't get a perfect Metacritic score. They flip the fuck out. How dare you? This game is amazing, and blah, 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 blah. Or they'll actually defend stuff, basically, that when other companies do the same thing, they'll be hypocrites about it. Here's an example with the Spider-Man exclusive thing, where they basically, Sony paid Spider-Man to have Spider-Man exclusive to Marvel's Avengers, which I think is utter bullshit. That needs to stop too. I hate console exclusives like that. Like, Microsoft is the worst for this. I cannot stand console launch exclusives. Either make it exclusive or launch it at the same time, you bastards. That is so dumb, it's unreal. You paid money just to have it a little bit early. It's so stupid. But anyway, back to Spider-Man, is if you ask the Sony fanboys that were excited about that, hey, Spider-Man, blah, 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 they're like, well, it's just a business decision. They just put the money forth. It's just a business decision. But then, when you ask those same Sony fanboys about Phantasy Star Online 2, which is only available on Xbox and PC, because I haven't seen any news about this, but I think Microsoft did actually pay Sega to bring that over. Like, they put money forth to help out with it. Yet, you'll see tons of Sony fanboys talking shit, saying, yeah, of course Microsoft's throwing their money around, getting it exclusive. We don't even get to try the game. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh, so it's okay when Sony does it, but when another company does it, you get all pissy. Or they'll get pissy, like I said, about Nintendo getting a bump from its score because of, like, you know, like Zelda or Mario gets a bump just because it's that. But when their games get a bump, like The Last of Us 2, it's like, oh, well, that's just because it's a good game. It's just good quality game. It's really gotten bad. The fanboyism has gotten so bad that they cannot talk about the bad things that each company's doing. And there are numerous. Like I said, why did Uncharted 4 or even Halo 5 or any of these exclusive games not get their score drastically dropped because of microtransactions? Like, I like Uncharted 4. That game's awesome. But the fact of the micros being in there to begin with should have dropped it a couple points. Well, I shouldn't say I didn't like... well, Uncharted 2 was my favorite. Uncharted 4 was okay, I'll say. But anyway, this fanboyism needs to stop, because what it's doing is it actually just creates even more divide in the gaming community. We should actually be happy when another game company does good. I don't get why... To me, usually the fanboys come from people that can't afford all the consoles, I suppose. I've got all three of them. You know, I don't care. I play all of the games. I think God of War was awesome. That is actually one game that deserves a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. That game was fucking amazing. The game was amazing. But these other Sony exclusives getting 10s, like Horizon Zero Dawn, no. It's been done before. The game was kind of boring and everything like that. Got really repetitive. Ghost of Tsushima I thought was an amazing game, but again, that's another one that got a little repetitive and everything like that. But it's just... That's the other thing that gets me, is we've gotten to the point where it's all about those Metacritic scores, which is so stupid because, like I said, we've already seen that they're bad. You have, like, the example with The Last of Us 2. Last of Us 2 had, granted, a bunch of 0 scores. You shouldn't be giving a game a 0. There's no way it's that bad unless it's a broken pile of shit that you can't play. But you also shouldn't give it a 10 out of 10 stunning and brave. You know, it's funny that Metacritic went nuts and said, we've removed 10,000 bad troll reviews for Last of Us 2. Did you remove the 10,000 troll positive reviews? Oh, no, you didn't, because it fits your narrative and you don't give a shit about that. And that's the problem. This is what this shit creates. These wars create it to where the media tries to control the war. They literally turn us on each other. It's what they do because they get clicks. Rage gets more clicks. We need to stop playing into this shit. We need to, as gamers as a whole, need to step back, look at where the industry is heading, and actually do something about it. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. This one's been a little bit long. I kind of just went on a rant there. Unfortunately, that's kind of what I do. Once I get a fire under my butt, I'm basically like, yep, let's rant about this shit because it pisses me the fuck off. So, in short, basically, gaming is not... a lot of the industries that I enjoy are not going the way that I would definitely like them to. And you could say that it's just me not liking change, and I'll give you that. But it's also the same of just dirty-handed tactics, underhanded bullshit, deceptive marketing, and just all-around sliminess that has permeated the gaming industry recently. And like I said, it's not the only industry. And the only thing I could say to us fellow gamers that are tired of this shit is that we need to actually stand up. Yeah, I don't want to say we can get our voices heard because we get drowned out by a lot of the other bastards online and everything like that. But we definitely should try to make our voices heard. And best way to do that is with our wallet. All these people care about is money. And that's how we hit them hard. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Give me a like or subscribe. I'm going to keep doing videos like this. It's probably not going to all be about gaming or tech. It's going to be jumping around because, as it says, everything sucks.